All right, guys, I'm here in day 2 of Fully Charged Live, and I had an honor and a privilege to meet Oliver Roland. How are you, sir? Good to meet you.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Oliver is a Formula E driver for the Shell Nissan team, because I have to pronounce Nissan correctly, because I do pronounce it. And I'm really stoked to come and see you. Thank you very much for taking the time. Now, I understand that you've been in this game for quite a while. You're one of the pioneers in the Formula E. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got into that side?
Yeah, so basically, obviously, I grew up through karting into single-seaters, and you know, it got to a point where I think, you know, Formula E was really taking off on a trajectory that has been extremely steep. You know, there's so many manufacturers in it now, companies trying to improve their products, that, you know, it's really the place to be. And, you know, if you look at the level of the drivers in there, it was a no-brainer for me to go. I mean, the level of competition is extremely high. And yeah, that's pretty much how I got into it. And you know, each year the technology is improving, the cars are getting better, and it's an absolute privilege to drive in Formula E.
So how have you seen that technology advance in such a short time? Because it really is advancing quite rapidly.
Well, I think, you know, each year, obviously, all the manufacturers are making their own power units. So each year, people are trying to make better and better power units. They're becoming more and more efficient. And then obviously with partners even like Shell coming in, you know, with what they're trying to do and what technology they bring to us, we can improve our game there as well. And obviously in season 5 there was a new car that came in and you know, that's just taken it to a whole new level. The brakes are much better, we've got a lot more performance, more power, a bigger battery. So you know, everything's heading in the right direction, so we have a really fast race car.
I understand, and I understand this is a different type of racing style for you, right? I mean, you know, the traditional F1 and Indy and all that other stuff, you know, it's about pit stop, it's about fuel management, it's a whole bunch of different things, and we know aerodynamics. But in Formula E, you go and you just keep going until the race is over. So you've got to be more cognizant of regenerative braking, of utilizing, you know, saving your fuel, per se, your electrons. How do you deal with that?
Yes, so it's the biggest thing, obviously, as a new driver to come in. You have to learn how to deal with the regen. The biggest thing is you have lifting beeps, so you have to lift almost like you're fuel saving, and then you have to regen with a paddle on the steering wheel. And what this paddle does is it puts all the energy back through the rear tires. So that energy that is regenerated through the wheels is fed straight back into the battery. So if you can have an efficient regen that will pump as much energy back into the battery, then you can use more on the next straight. So it's all about the fine balance of lap time versus regen. And there's so many different settings we can have: stronger, weaker regen, less or more lift paddle ratio, so we do less lifting but more paddling. And it's really a fine line, and also you can imagine that all the brakes are on the rear, so the car then becomes a different animal to drive. When you've got 4 brakes, it's much more stable. When all of a sudden you just have a rear brake, then it becomes much more unstable. So obviously, I'm in sort of my 10th race now, so each race I've been learning and each race I've been improving. So yeah.
Fascinating. And how do you find, you know, the differences in with that instant torque? You know, you're not relying on reaching horsepower now. You know, to build up that torque, you're getting it instantly in these vehicles. How do you find that as a big differentiator versus the normal vehicles?
I mean, to start with, off the start line, the cars are they accelerate very strongly.
Right?
I mean, similar 0 to 60 to a Formula 1 car. So you know that instant torque is good, but how the cars have how they've, you know, developed over the last few years with the throttle maps, we can make it feel very similar to a normal car. So each time, you know, the cars are improving and improving, we're getting it to feel more and more like a normal car. So when the power is delivered, it's delivered in a smooth way, an efficient way, and it's very drivable, because that's the biggest thing when we're trying to improve lap time by 0.1 cents. You need it to be, the drivability to be good. But you know, I think Nissan and all our partners have done a really good job. You know, we've had 4 out of 5 pole positions in the last 5 races between me and Buemi, so I think we have a really fantastic package.
Looks that way. And in the driving dynamics, so in other cars there was a shifting element. Here it's a single gear mechanism, is that correct?
Exactly.
So you just punch and go. So you don't have, that's another thing you don't have to really worry about.
It's more like going back to go-kart, so you have 2 pedals and a steering wheel. In some respects it's different, but it's quite nice. You know, you focus purely on driving, not on shifting, upshifting, downshifting and all this sort of stuff. You can, when you do a quali lap, you can 100% focus on maximizing everything you can out of the car.
That's almost a driver's dream.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. Now, and one other thing about handling I want to ask is because EVs have batteries in the lower, between the axles, you get that lower center of gravity, the weight distribution is different. How has that impacted the vehicles?
So where the battery is located is pretty much where the fuel cell is located on a normal car. So you can imagine the weight of the battery and the weight of the fuel. When you have 100 kilos of fuel, it's a lot of weight up high. So actually, in theory, of course, each time with the power unit, we're trying to get the weight as low as possible, but everybody has the batteries in the same place. But actually, to drive the car, it's impressive. Like, you think we also have like an all-weather tire, which you would think would bring a certain level of disadvantage when it's dry, but actually Michelin produced a really good tire, and the cars are actually really, really good fun to drive. Especially when you're between two walls, because you have to remember we race all on street circuits.
That's right.
So you have to have a lot of confidence in the car, and to be honest, with the center of gravity, you don't feel it so much. Of course, if we were to lower it and put it in the floor, maybe in the future, then that would make a difference.
It would make a difference. And last question, as far as the technology that you're privy to. All that R&D, as we know, a lot of R&D comes into the consumer market from automobile. What are you seeing? What do you see for the future as far as technologies that you're seeing now that might make it to a consumer type of format?
Well, obviously each time, all the manufacturers are trying to make their powertrains more efficient. And in partnerships like we have with Shell, for example, they can bring new upgrades in terms of lubricants and things like that to help with us. Also with the fast charging, maybe in the future it's something that Formula E is going to look into. So I think, with all these different aspects coming from all these different big companies, I think, Formula E can be extremely exciting. And of course, the high-level technology that we take, they can take that and put them into their normal road users. So when you go to a petrol station, and you have a fast charging and all that sort of stuff. I just think it's extremely exciting, extremely new, and the future looks very bright.
Excellent. Well, thank you again very much for taking the time to talk to me out of your hectic schedule. If you haven't followed this guy, follow him. I take it you're on Twitter and all that good stuff.
Twitter and Instagram. Yeah.
Beautiful. So follow Oliver, and thank you very much, sir. Again, it's a pleasure. All the best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, guys, well, I'm here at the Octopus Energy booth with CEO Fiona Howarth. How are you?
Hi.
Pleasure to meet you.
So actually, I'm the CEO of Octopus Electric Vehicles, which is one of the Octopus Energy groups. Companies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been messing up titles all day. I've been promoting people. I've been telling everybody they're CEO.
I know. I loved
really
it. You just promoted me to the group, which I thought was.
So maybe there's a premonition. Maybe something's going on here. Who knows? Well, thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to chat with me.
Pleasure to be here.
What I was hoping is get some intel about what you guys are about. I know you started as a core business providing energy.
Yeah.
Maybe you could tell me a little bit about that and some of the new stuff only within the last year about electric vehicles. What's all that about?
Yeah, sure. So Octopus Energy launched about 3 years ago to the public. And we now have, I think, over 700,000 customers.
Wow, that's amazing. It's pretty good ramp up.
All on 100% renewable energy.
Excellent.
So we're very excited about that. So on the EV side, do you know what EVs we came to a couple of years ago? And I personally really wanted to get an EV. I went into buying a Nissan Leaf. And
did you end up buying a Leaf?
Not that day.
Not that day.
Because I went in and the first guy sent out the new guy on the job. The new guy came out. He didn't have a brochure. He printed out a brochure. We sat down, and then his boss came out and was like, "Oh, it's going to take you 28 hours to charge." And that was just nonsense. Even with a 3-pin plug, this was a 30 kilowatt hour Leaf. It wasn't going to take me 28 hours to charge. Worst case, it was going to be 10 hours. So. Then I was talking to him about some of the other bits, and he kept feeding me some different information. And then he said, "Oh, you've got a couple of kids. We've got this amazing family car over here, which runs on petrol. We've got a great offer on it today." Yeah. And I was like, well, this is really sad, actually, because if I wasn't really firm about the fact I wanted an electric car, I could quite easily be persuaded not to do it.
It happens quite a lot.
And so we were like, well, actually, if you do want independent, impartial advice on the range of EVs today, maybe you're thinking about a Tesla, maybe you're thinking about a Jaguar I-Pace, or maybe you're thinking about a Leaf or a Model 3 or whatever it might be. How do you get that information, and how do you speak to somebody that has done charging at home, somebody that has used charging networks, that kind of stuff? Maybe you're thinking about getting charging points for work, or you want to recommend that at your workplace. Who do you speak to? So that's what we started doing. And actually they're educational events where people can come down, see the cars, get into them, take them for a drive, speak to experts. Exactly. And I think, I'm guessing you have an EV yourself.
Nissan Leaf, yes.
And when you get in it, right, it just sells itself.
You saw a need there. Right?
Yeah.
You saw a market need. You'll be able to take that into a business.
And now we help people actually with bundles. So we can, if you, then let's say you really like the Nissan Leaf and you want to get the Nissan Leaf, we can help you with financing. Or we can help you buy it outright. And then actually we can help you get a charger at home. So we partnered with My Energy that provide the Zappy charger.
Okay, yep.
And then also we've got tariffs that from Octopus Energy that are specifically designed for EV drivers. Today actually we're launching a new vehicle to grid proposition.
I was going to ask you about that. So brand new for you guys.
Brand new.
How's that going to work?
So we have just partnered with Wallbox that are based on really cutting edge technology, and that's enabled them to create this much smaller bi-directional charger, which you can use to charge your car, but also take that electricity back from the car to support your home and the grid at times of peak demand on the grid, so that you're actually enabling us to move to more renewable energy.
So you talked about some of the needs that you hear about people moving to electric vehicles. What are some of the other considerations that you would tell people that are maybe on the fence or thinking about it, and the problem that you guys solve there?
Yeah, so I mean, I think a lot of people ask about charging and that kind of stuff. Yep. For people that have off-street parking, it's just a no-brainer, and I'm lucky enough to have that. So actually, it's like your mobile phone. You charge it up overnight, start each day with a full charge. So that's brilliant. But if you don't, then there's other ways of doing it, either by basically plugging in when you're doing things that you love, right? So it doesn't have to be a detour again, but it can be when you're shopping or maybe at your local gym, that kind of stuff. And actually what we're starting to do is encourage people to encourage those facilities that they use to put in place charge points.
Absolutely. Well, great advice, and it's great to see more businesses like yourself helping to spur EV adoption. And I think the car business is going to boom for you guys. You've been doing it for a year now.
Yeah,
been doing
just
quite
over
well.
a year. We
That's
launched
fantastic.
at the beginning of last year.
Got all the major brands. You can check them out on their website at Octopus Electric Vehicles, and of course for the energy side at Octopus Energy.
Yeah, exactly.
And thank you very much, Fiona, for your wisdom beyond your years. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
It's lovely to meet you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Like that.
All right. Hey guys, I'm here still at Fully Charged Live Day 2, and I'm here with the lovely Christelle Barnes, Country Manager for Solaredge. How are you?
Very
Pleasure
well,
to
thanks.
meet you.
You too.
Thank you for taking your time out of your hectic, crazy, busy
No
schedule
problem at all.
out here where it was raining before, but we got a break, so I wanted to run out and see Christelle.
Standard British weather.
Well, hey, listen, where I'm from in Canada, we've got a lot of this coming, so I don't know what's going on, But part of what hopefully EVs will bring is some of this climate change, bring it back to normality. And I know you guys have a business unit to help that. So tell me a little bit about Solaredge and what you guys do. I know you're a solution provider in different clean energy formats.
Yeah, so we're a manufacturer of all different products used in solar systems.
Yep.
So traditionally our offering has been inverters and optimizers. We call it our DC optimized inverter solution, but we've really expanded the range to be more of a complete solution provider.
Yep.
So we've added smart energy products, added a storage solution, and we're really pleased to now be talking about adding EV products to our range as well.
And that's kind of a launch at this show, is it kind of conjunction with that? So it's pretty big news?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. So we're showing here the EV charging solar inverter, really for the first time in the UK. So we've got a working system set up showing all the consumers here how they can use excess power to charge their EV. Excellent.
Now, and I've talked to a lot of people, and solar is it's a very big practice here, even though I hear some of the incentives might have changed. There's some different ways to manipulate that, but it's a pretty big market here. In a country that you wouldn't think. I mean, you think Arizona, New Mexico, Turkey, whatever, these kind of places. How is that working for you?
Not known for its sunshine, right?
It's not called the Sunshine State, right?
No, not quite. No, so I think it's all about self-consumption now. Yeah. So previously people were putting in solar more as a financial investment. We were looking at the return. It was a way of investing money and doing something good for the environment at the same time. Now people are thinking about how they can increase their self-consumption, how they can reduce their carbon footprint, how they can maximize their roof to add value to the world. So definitely seeing it's a shifting consumer base. I think people are looking at solar for different reasons now, and it's great to be a part of that.
Very much so. I mean, so many people are trying to go off grid or as much as they can, be more self-sustaining, self-efficient, and lower their carbon footprints. And even some people I talk to, trying to get into a negative carbon situation, right? Which is
definitely.
good. And from an EV products, can you expand a little bit more about that, about how you're rolling that out?
Of course. So the first product we've got in the range, which we're showing here, is the EV charging solar inverter. So this is a product that is kind of a 2-in-1. It's combining both the PV inverter and the EV charger into one to reduce the cost of installation and the labour and make it easier for consumers to
keep it simple, right? Keep it simple.
Exactly. So it's I think a great addition to the range, really helping people who are adopting electric vehicles, like so many of the consumers at this event, helping them to reduce the carbon footprint of driving an electric vehicle. Because if they're charging from the grid, they may be charging from electricity that's come from nuclear or gas. It isn't necessarily renewable energy. So generating their own solar, electricity from their own solar, and then using that to power their car helps them reduce their carbon footprint.
Absolutely does. Well, that's fantastic. Anything else you want to say about Solaredge?
I think watch the space.
Watch the space. I mean, something's coming, folks. You've heard it here first. It's going viral. No, listen, I want all the best to your success in that business model. It's well needed, and I'll keep track of you guys and see what's going on.
Thank you.
And a pleasure to meet you.
Thanks so
Thank you
much.
for taking the
Thanks
time.
for coming.
All right. Hey guys, still at day 2 Fully Charged Live. I'm here with the chairman of Gridserve Sustainable Energy, Jerry Stokes. How are you?
Kenneth, really pleased to meet you. Thank you very much.
Pleased to meet you. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to me. Now, folks who follow me know that I did a news element for Gridserve a couple of months ago, I think, when you guys announced the concept of what you're doing in these really luxurious charging hubs and charging stations. Maybe you can tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure, Kenneth. So Gridserve Sustainable Energy is a renewable energy company. We've built several hundred megawatts of solar farms, and we recognized that there was a need to provide convenient, reliable, economic, dependable, ultra-fast EV charging. And that's when we came up with the concept of the electric forecourt. And so leveraging our knowledge of the electricity grid, we look at capacity on the grid at substations and then apply GIS mapping tools to find locations where there's high traffic flow, population, trading estates, so there's a lot of people, and then we look to secure land rights there to then be able to build out an electric forecourt.
Beautiful. I mean, that's a great way to model that, because you want to put them in these locations that are best suited, that are going to get the best traffic flow, that are going to service the needs of a lot of customers, right, potentially, yeah?
Absolutely, and the grid is the key issue here, because what we're doing is building an electric forecourt that will enable vehicles to be charged in less than 30 minutes. And so initially, right now there's only, I think, one car, the Porsche, that can charge at 350 kilowatts. But we're designing our systems to be able to charge vehicles, multiple vehicles, at the same time at 350 kilowatts.
Wow, so you're going to have a big, I mean, you've got a solar element to that to power it, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
So we need a grid capacity of around 6 or so megawatts. And so that means we'll be able to charge 20 or 30 vehicles at over 150 kilowatts simultaneously.
Wow.
And so that's about 30-minute charging.
Huge, huge.
You mentioned about the solar. So another key element for us is that we have solar farms that will provide the renewable energy for our sites. And so we have a hybridized business model between a solar farm generating the energy. We have grid scale energy storage, which can operate both in the form of providing services to the grid for balancing frequency response, but also if the energy price goes negative, happy days, charge our battery, and then we can use that to provide power to our forecourt.
Exactly.
And then, and because people are going to be there for 30 minutes, then they'll come into our wonderful building, which has both like an airport style lounge for people to relax, but of course convenience food, fresh coffee, so there's a retail element as well.
That's awesome. And so you have some on-site battery storage. You're going to take some of that solar energy, put it to batteries, and then DC to DC basically, type of concept?
That's right. So we're trying to optimize both the energy generation that we have from our solar farms, the battery energy storage, and providing services to the grid.
Excellent. That's fantastic. And while we're talking, I'll have a fly-through of the video that you're showing here behind us so people can get the concept. But what caught my eye was the level of experience that you're going to provide for consumers who are going to stop and get their charge, because it's not just a bathroom break and a quick coffee. Again, you're sitting for 30 minutes or more, depending on the type of vehicle. You mentioned you're going to have a retail element, you're going to have, I think, a barista and this kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe a kids thing.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Also, which I found unique is you're going to have an experience type center concept. What's that about?
Yeah, so what we recognise is that those of us who drive EVs, we're kind of passionate about them, aren't we?
We are.
And so we will have space for the non-EV drivers to come onto our site.
Wow.
So there's some spaces for them. And of course, once we've got them inside, we're looking at a marketing platform. So for those companies that either don't have their own dealer network in the UK or who want to promote their vehicles, there's a marketing platform. We're thinking of something like the electric launch pad for people to promote their vehicles. And so people on site will be able to come and see and learn more about EVs on an electric forecourt. It's nothing like a petrol forecourt.
Exactly.
And so it's a different experience. And as we know, once you've sat in an EV, driven an EV, there's kind of no going back, is there? It's just such a great experience.
No going back, exactly. Now, from an expansion, I hear that you're going for planning permits shortly for your first station to come online in March of 2020. Your plan is big as far as the number of forecourts.
Absolutely. So we've got letters of authority on land for around 100 sites.
100?
So
my goodness.
By the back end of next year, we expect to have between 16 and 20 sites either constructed or under construction. So we're using a modular design, so many of the elements are using modern methods of construction off-site. So we're expecting from coming on-site to starting to welcome the first customer around 14 weeks.
14 weeks?
So
that's really accelerating.
So what that really means, and our COO is really, when I put it to him like this, it means next year, basically from March onwards, we're kind of rolling one out a month.
Yeah, wow.
And our business plan says the following year it's one a week. Well, yeah, so we're covering the whole of the United Kingdom, but we're not starting in the south and going up. We've got sites across the whole country from day one.
So it's a fantastic model. I look forward to seeing one March next year, so fully charged will be probably June again, so maybe I'll hit one up when I come next year for fully charged 3.0. It's exciting news.
Well, Kenneth, we'd be very pleased to welcome you to our electric forecourt. Gridserve are really excited about this opportunity because we know that having this reliable, convenient, economic, dependable, and frankly, super fast charging is really critical to help this electric vehicle revolution take off.
Absolutely.
And Gridserve's really excited by playing a part in that.
And thank you for segueing my show name. I appreciate that in your remarks. No, you're absolutely correct. We've got to make that customer experience a non-issue and a comfortable, enjoyable experience, because that is part of the EV adoption, right?
Absolutely.
To get people in the cars.
Yeah.
Well, all the best of success. I look forward to hearing more.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Cheers.
Right, folks, day 3, fully charged. I still have my voice barely, and I know Mike barely does. This is Mike Potter, CEO of DriveElectric. How are you, Mike?
Really nice to see you.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with me. I know you guys are doing some innovative things, and I found out in the EV leasing space, you guys were first to market here in the UK. Is that correct? Tell me a little bit about that.
For battery vehicles, yes. So we have actually been running a leasing business for 20 years.
Wow, okay.
But in 2008, by fate, we leased the first Tesla Roadster in the UK.
Roadster, okay.
And gradually over the next few years, we bought some Nissan Leafs, and today, so we changed our name. We were called Fleet Drive, we're now DriveElectric.
Okay.
And we're now 100% focused on battery cars only, not plug-in hybrids.
Fantastic. I love to hear that, 100% focus.
So,
That's awesome. And you were first to market, I think, in 2008. Starting with electric vehicles here, which, I mean, that's 11 years ago. That's pioneering days for the EV, right? I mean, really, it must have been a bit of a tough slug a little initially.
That was a lonely place.
A lonely place, exactly.
Lonely place.
From what I understand, so you help clients get into electric vehicles by leasing, so you make your costs as achievable as possible for them. You de-risk that purchase if there's fears, because it's a lease, so it's a shorter term type of element. They can come, they can try it, you support them through the whole process. You help qualify them, of course, so you can find the right vehicle for the right buyer, or maybe it's not a fit. I guess you come across that too.
So, as with most EV purchases, people are worried. They're anxious about the range, where am I going to charge it, all the things that we know that come there. So, mostly we're helping them to feel better about that, to make sure that they understand. We've got detailed knowledge. All the guys here that you see, pretty much every one of them drives a pure battery car themselves.
Oh, beautiful.
We all drive them, so we can, from first-hand knowledge, say, oh no, this is okay because X or whatever. And people have to take a little leap of faith, but hopefully we make it a smaller one than it felt like to begin with. We do that for both individuals and for businesses.
Right, I was going to ask about your fleet
businesses
side.
find it. Actually, businesses find it more difficult than individuals because there's a lot more stakeholders to get over that fear.
Yeah, excellent. Well, you know, again, you mentioned the fleet side, and that is an important, you know, my viewers know I'm always talking about, it's not just the consumer side. That's a great start, but we got to get the commercial elements involved into this as well. And, you know, hey, live you know, when you shoot live, it's fantastic. It's okay, it's all fine. So, you know, because that's a big chunk of CO2 and emissions that you can take out. So have you seen the uptake on the fleet business go quite well?
It's beginning to in the UK now. So up until now, it's been a lot more personal than businesses, but that's really starting to flip over now. We've got some really big fleets that are starting to look at that.
Sorry, we're just filming. It's okay. It's okay.
So we have some key. We also have been chosen by some really big businesses to help them introduce EVs, like EDF. So EDF have got a really large multi-million pound campaign on, and we're supplying all the car leasing for that. So they've got a package, and yeah, it's beginning to change quite rapidly now. But I still feel like we're only at the foot of the mountain. You probably
absolutely correct. I mean, the biggest thing for fleets are lowering their total cost of ownership. How can they squeeze their costs down, but still deliver the services? You know, perform what they need to do within those functions. And but what I've seen in fleets is once they go green, you know, some in the U.S. or hydrogen that seems to be picking up, but the EV side, once they understand and see the cost savings, it's like, whoa, why aren't we doing this?
Absolutely.
I wish you all the best of continued success and growth. You're doing a great thing helping the marketplace, and thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you so much for coming to see us today.
It's all good.
And have a good trip back to Canada.
Thank you. Yeah, I fly back tomorrow, so all right. Take care. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks. Thank you.
Hey guys, day 3, fully charged live, almost wrapping up, a couple hours to go. We still have energy. I'm here with my good friend Craig, President, CEO, King Guru, Renault Zoe Owners Club
Hi Ken, how are you?
Europe, or you got to tell me. I'm great, man. I'm great. You got to tell me.
Largest free EV owners club in the world. Let's go that one. Yeah,
free.
Totally
There's
free.
not much in life that's free anymore.
Oh, we're totally free.
Totally free.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now you guys have been around. You know, we're YouTube buddies. We were here last year.
Absolutely.
Drank way too much, but that's another story. Had loads of fun. But I know you've been working hard to get this club going. When did you start this, and what was the brainchild behind it?
2015 we started it. I was on a few other like little forums. People, you know, mixture of other cars, Nissans. I was like, oh, there's not a dedicated Zoe forum thing. So I wonder if anyone would have like a club, you know, get-togethers, have some meets.
And you've seen lots of Zoes on the road.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, at the time there was next to nothing. And I thought, there's a little bit of a market here. And I asked a few people, and everyone said, no, won't work. Car clubs are out the window now. No one cares. And I was like, I'm going to do that then, because everyone said not to do it. You got to have a go. So started it. It was slow at first. About 6 months later, we had about 130 members.
Nice. Okay. Good.
And now it's just unstoppable, Ken.
It is.
Absolutely
What are you
unstoppable.
at now? What's kind of your last count?
Well, you know, group-wise, so you've got the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the main site. If you combine them all, it's over 7,500 members.
Wow,
so
that's fantastic.
Because you've got a mix in. Not everyone goes on Facebook, some are on. So
we all have our different choices of media. Now, one of the things I like that you guys do, because I do follow what you guys do, and you send me invites. Unfortunately, I can't come to a lot because it's a long way to come across the pond. But you guys do, you know, EVs in the Park have been taking off, big success, and a whole bunch of other public events.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about those.
So, like, EVs in the Park was started when I first started the club as a little get together for the Zoe owners. The first event we had five cars turn up, and then
it's a nice little BBQ.
Little. And then the next year, I opened up a little bit more and sort of like let's try and get into the park. So we got a little position inside the park, and I got messaged by a few people saying, "Well, I haven't got a Zoe, but can I come in my Leaf?" Yeah, let's do that. So we had the first year we had like say 5, and then we opened up and we had like 30 cars. Oh, brilliant! And they all loved it, and they said, "It's not very big, it's nice and quiet. Everyone was just chatting." And there was last year, I went for it and opened it up to everybody with an EV. and anyone that's got a Rex now,
a plug-in hybrid. Sure.
yeah, plug-in hybrid.
Yeah.
But it's not actually plug-in hybrid. We can't have anything that's got a mechanical engine driving the wheels.
Right.
Is not allowed on the field.
Yeah, basically anything that has a plug is allowed, right? You want to have a plug.
Well, even the plug-in hybrids still have the engine that powers the.
Oh, okay. It's a little bit different in North
It has to be the
America,
Rex.
but yeah.
But anyway, so I opened that up.
Yeah.
And we had 138 vehicles last year.
Wow, nice.
So
Yeah,
it became like the largest gathering of EVs in one place for a free event. And then we got it again this year, August the 24th.
There you go.
The same
Go ahead,
place in
plug it.
Coventry.
Yeah, Coventry, yeah.
And already we're well over the 138 already.
Nice.
So
Excellent,
it's fun.
excellent.
But we've got sponsors: Octopus Energy,
Right.
R. Simmons,
Okay.
Electric Zoo, Sussex EVs. They're all sponsoring it in their own way. Some are bringing
Beautiful.
cake, some are bringing coffee, some have paid for sponsorship. But yeah, it's growing. It's
Excellent. You know, and I'm part of some organizations in Ontario or in my neck of the woods in Canada. And you know, we do a lot of social events and public outreach events and different gatherings, and that's what it's about. It's about getting people together, share stories, and also continuing the education, right? Having fun with what you have and celebrating that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great. It's wonderful.
Well, I wish you all the best for the club. If you're not familiar, how can people find the club?
Yeah, you can join us on www.rzoc.club. Or go on Facebook and just search RZOC. Follow us on Twitter at RZOC. Everything's pretty. In fact, little thing there, thing. Everything's RZOC.
RZOC.
But if you join
I'll splash this
RZOC,
on the screen,
and then you can follow all the links. But it's great. It's
Well,
awesome.
listen, I wish you best continued success. And you've done a lot of hard work to grow that.
Thank you, Ken.
And all the reports are just outstanding. Everybody's having fun and enjoying it, and you're helping the cause of EV adoption.
That's what we're here for.
That's what it's about.
Thank you, Ken.
You're helping the revolution.
Safe trip home.
Viva la revolution.
Viva.
Move along. All right. Thanks.